Hey Ma, do you know what bursts my bubble?
What bursts your bubble?
Safety. Um, Something that I really desire is to feel protected and safe. And often I don't feel safe in public.
Isn't that in Maslow's hierarchy of needs? Isn't safety first is food and water, and then isn't the second safety? I think.
Right.
Human needs. That's the second thing.
Right. So part of the reason I don't feel safe in the real world is because I was bullied in middle school, I was bullied in high school, so I learned the world was a chaotic and terrifying place. The reason I would stay home is because I felt protected and comforted by you. I felt protected at home. But at home, I was pouring my life down the drain, wasting my teenage years, my 20s, the beginning of my 30s. I felt comfortable, safe, protected, anxious, agoraphobic.
That's not really as uncommon as you think. Agoraphobia. It's just not. There's a lot of people that do feel that way, even ones that didn't go through what you've gone through.
Yeah, I mean, and even when I go into New York City, or even around the neighborhood in safer neighborhoods, I feel like everybody looks at me in a critical way. I feel like I'm walking on eggshells. I feel like everybody views me like I'm a mentally ill freak, and I need to realize that's all in my head. People don't look at me critically.
You're a nicely dressed, handsome young man.
Right. I need to realize the entire world. I learned in my childhood the entire world is chaos. The entire world is terrifying, and
that's simply not the truth. There's terrifying parts to our world, absolutely, and you have to be vigilant to protect yourself against the parts and not be naive.
Right.
But I think if you're cautious, optimistically cautious, I think you should be able to live life and enjoy life. It's hard. It's hard if that negativity wants to come in.
Right. Something else the bullies, ingrained in my mind is the sadistic persecutor card. Basically, I'll think, somebody is my friend. I'll think somebody is genuinely my friend or genuinely my parent, like a good person. Basically, the good person card. But then they'll do something to upset me. Then they'll do something to make me feel, irritated, and the card will flip. And they'll turn into, Satan in my mind. A sadistic, evil, nefarious person.
But you gotta remember...
I need to realize there's shades of gray. Just because you upset me, just because, one of my friends upsets me, doesn't mean they're a sadistic monster. It means maybe they were in a bad mood.
Alright, let me ask you a question. Do you have anybody that doesn't happen with? Is there anybody that doesn't happen with where the card flips?
I find if somebody has power over me, the card tends to
flip more.
Yeah, because let's say there's people that I'm equal with, or they don't have any sort of power or control over me.
So there's no threat.
I feel unthreatened by these people, so I don't really get the delusions about them for whatever reason. If I feel dependent on somebody, or I feel like they have power over me, or if I feel like they have power over me, so they could turn into a monster and there'd be nothing I could do about it.
Well, it's kind of like the cop persona, or
the police officer
how
persona.
People project the police officers of having, or judges or lawyers, or that they have this power over doctors even. Sometimes people perceive doctors as having power over your life.
Yeah, some people think people in positions of authority, like doctors, lawyers, police officers. But to be honest with you, when I go into New York City, there are a lot of sketchy criminals, and actually, police presence makes me feel safer. I know there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people that are really critical of the police. But to be honest with you, I find if you're not doing anything to draw attention to yourself, the police typically leave you alone. With that said, when I was really sick in 2011. I encountered some condescending police officers. So I guess there's bad apples
in every profession.
So there are some, bad cops. There are some good cops. A lot of good cops. And
well, what you have to realize is that the people that you feel are
speak up.
The people that you feel are the card flips with. You have to realize that when you have close relationships with people.
When I don't trust the people as much, the card, when they turn into Satan, is more intense. So, for example, childhood friends, I might think they're gossiping with me behind my back. But if I really don't trust the person, if the person really frightens me, it could turn into they're trying to murder me, something more intense. So I think when somebody, I kind of feel comfortable with them and they turn into Satan, the intensity of the delusions are less.
Gotcha.
Where if somebody I really don't trust or, I'm a little weary of, the delusions can be there literally trying to murder me.
Well, look, Andrew, I mean, we all have to, whether we have illness or not, we all have to be cautious because, if we don't know somebody well, I mean, it takes a long time to know somebody well, and I think people are guarded. Anybody's guarded about who they are, and don't put things out there for people to use against them. Because are there rotten people in the world? Sure there are, but there's also really good people in the world. However, people are...
What I learned in high school is there's a lot of chaos, there's a lot of bullies out there. The truth is most people in the world are good people. Most people aren't sadistic monsters that are trying to intimidate you and hurt you. Most people aren't bullies.
And high school are immature babies.
Everybody in high school are immature babies. And most people in the real world are going to accept you, even if you do have severe mental health challenges. They'll be inspired by you, and
somebody told me.
Is it still recording? I only have 10 minutes. Look at the screen. Does it just say record?
Yeah. Somebody told me that there's a comedian.
Keep watching it. How much time is left? Check the time up top. It says it up top.
15 or 13?
13.
Somebody said that they were in a deli in California, and a comedian came into the deli, and he's been forthright with his severe illness that he has, and everybody gave him this space and smiled and was respectful and didn't feel...
Yeah, I know when I do comedy at Comedy College in Governors in Levittown, I make it blatantly obvious that I suffer from severe mental health challenges. In fact, I even talk about that in my act. And I feel like everybody there is almost inspired by me. They look at you,
and they should be.
Just because you're a comedian that struggles with severe mental health challenges, and what I struggle with is schizoaffective disorder, does not mean you're not funny. You can suffer from schizoaffective disorder, and you could be the most hilarious person on planet Earth. And I think that's what I'm showing people. Yeah, I struggle with my mental health, but actually I'm very funny. I'm very intelligent. I'm very smart.
But I also believe that coming out and being open about it makes people that are terrified to do the same with their issues. I think you inspire them and you give them hope.
Right, I know when I was at the Psychosocial Clubhouse, you know how I'm very vocal and open and honest about my mental health challenges?
Yes.
I was inspiring people to be open and honest and not be ashamed of their illness. I mean, just be vocal about what they struggle with. And I think I was inspiring people to just open up. And I'm really proud of that because, and I think art is a great way to feel validated, to feel heard.
I mean, you're always going to have idiots, always. And even this particular comedian that I was telling you about said he was terrified to be as open as he was about everything because he thought he wouldn't get any roles. He thought that he would get shunned. He thought he would... Even at that level of success in his life, terrified.
Right, there's definitely...
At how dark he could get.
Right, there's definitely a stigma with mental illness. Not everybody's going to be warm. Not everybody's going to be accepting.
Everybody.
Some people might be frightened by you. Some people might look at you critically like, oh my God, this guy's a freak. But the truth is...
everything you say you feel is examined.
Be examined like, oh, is this guy delusional? Is this guy anxious? Is this guy a hypochondriac?
And then you feel like, is everything that I say going to be examined because you have the stamp? And that's a hard balance. And people that are intelligent don't do that though. People that are intelligent don't do that.
And that is what it is?
And that is what
it is. That is what it is.